What are the stories told by African Americans of life lived under the yoke of legal segregation in the era of Jim Crow? Prominent Baltimore figures offer accounts of the personal conflict and physical dangers afforded them as they navigated the hazardous landscape of separate but equal America, and as many would come to profess, make a way where there ain't no way.
So our parents were not called in and said, would you agree to this? Would this be okay for your child? But we were selected to go to the white schools. So the girls went to Eastern and the boys went to City or Poly. And that's when I was first introduced to There's Another World. And it was there that I met teachers who didn't think I should be smart and do well. I learned it was just the opposite. You're not as smart as the rest of these children in this school.
There were protests, and they were mostly white mothers because the men were at work. You know, get them out of our school, all sort of things. But it was get those Negroes out, separate but equal, et cetera, et cetera. It was horrible.
Jim Crow, or legal segregated oppression, stipulated that African Americans were to be in America, but could not fully participate in the benefits America had to offer. Most, if not all, benefits in Jim Crow America accrued to citizens socially labeled white at the expense of citizens socially labeled as black.
Outside of our two streets, it was scary. It could be very scary. KKK might have been written on the end of the block at any point in time.
And they were all segregated, and you didn't see the signs that said white and colored in those neighborhood areas. You saw them when you went downtown.
Not far from where we lived, around the corner, which is now Guilford, we used to walk through there, but you weren't welcome. You would move quickly because you really weren't supposed to be there.
I said, damn, I'm fought for my country, and I can't stop and get a damn hamburger. Some of them you'll go around the side. No, my pride would not let me do that. If I couldn't go to that front door and get something, I'd just soon not eat.
Nothing was mixed. So it was something we were used to doing, and we knew what we could and could not do, and go and could not go.
There was a real deference that had to be paid to white people, whether they were old or young.
And I've heard many of the older guys say, just don't look me in the eye, and they'll feel that you've done what society wants you to do. Don't argue with society. Do what the whites say.
Preservation through generational relationships was a conscious strategy for survival of African Americans living in Jim Crow America. Children's accomplishment was viewed as a guarantee of success for the entire community. Excellence was expected and would not be compromised at any cost.
Mediocrity was not acceptable, only excellence.
All the teachers instilled in us that we had to be twice as good. People just motivated you. And then not only you got that in school, you got it in the community.
Because the teachers were very quick to point out that you had a responsibility beyond yourself. They insisted upon your getting your education because that was what was good for the whole community, not just for you.
It didn't hold you back. It really propelled you further, I think, because it helped you to become determined to show that I can not only do this, I can do more than this.
Integration efforts through school desegregation was a missed opportunity for America. Some would argue that schools are as segregated today as they were during the days of Jim Crow. Persistence within an unfamiliar America, beyond the walls of segregated neighborhoods, in places that spewed endless hostility and resentment toward them, became strategic and in many circumstances dictated life or death.
Race as a factor, a negative factor, is again raising its head. Racism in this country is becoming much more tolerant.
I think it's so hard with people who are struggling to make ends meet, for all the single parents we have now. But it is a very, very different world from the world I grew up in.
It's about a block from where Freddie Gray was put into the police vehicle.
What we saw in 2015 could have happened in the 1930s.
And as Maya Angelou says in Still I Rise, in spite of that, and still I rise. I'm not going anywhere.